Okay. So now we're going to talk about The Adam Project, which is the other film that came out this week. Directed by Sean Levy, starring Ryan Reynolds. This is Netflix's original. Full spoilers if you haven't seen it. You've been warned. What do we think about this one?
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out, total garbage, the whole time garbage. No, I'm just kidding.
You're dancing while you do that.
I thought that it was pretty good. I think that it is helped a lot by a solid emotional core and good performances. But the story, not 100% A+.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I mean, that's fine. I still really enjoyed it.
I thought this was exactly the movie I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be. The emotional core, as Sparkz, you even said, very solid. It's right there. Now, what I really liked about it wasn't the same movie as Free Guy. You know, it's not kind of laugh out loud funny like Free Guy is.
Sure.
It is a different. It's not necessarily a comedy. It's more of an action adventure, and just kind of appreciated that. It's really just what I'm trying to say with that. But I really liked it. I really liked Ryan Reynolds in it. I really liked that kid. Yeah.
I will elaborate on what I was saying to say that I think the emotional core is very good. I think that this movie overall is a situation of actors elevating the writing. I feel like a lot of the stuff around Sorian, the villain, is not great. It's just not. It's not hitting top level for
sure.
What I want it to be.
There's not really a lot of motivation there. I agree with that.
Not only is there not a lot of motivation, it's like there's a lot of steps missing in like we are flung into what she did and who she is so quickly, and I think that the involvement of her younger version should give us some room to backtrack and kind of understand her better. And it's almost like they wanted to walk up to that line, but they just don't do it. And so her whole thing kind of falls flat for me. Even though I like Catherine Keener, I think she's great as an actor.
I don't think she's really given I have a couple things about this movie that kind of hurt it for me, but I don't think she's giving a good performance in this.
No, I don't either. And that's a bummer.
Yeah, the whole stuff with Sorian and even Catherine Keener, like the scene where she's talking her to herself, like old self and young self, it just felt very flat. But that's not. I mean, like we were saying, the thing that makes this movie very, very much work for me is Ryan Reynolds, the kid whose name I completely forgetting, and Mark Ruffalo. That whole
and Jennifer Garner do not sell. Honestly, Jennifer Garner and Zoe Saldana, both super important to why I like this movie.
Yeah,
even though they're not in it as much as the three male stars that you just mentioned, both of them have scenes that are emotionally devastating.
The bar scene with Old Adam is a really good scene.
And they are going for it, both of them. Jennifer Garner's scene with Ryan Reynolds is when I was watching the movie. I'm like, I mean, this movie's real good, even if the rest of it is shit from here. Because I was so emotionally engaged with it. And again, this is one of those situations where I'm like, these actors are raising this writing. Like the writing's not terrible, but like they are taking it to the next level. Their performances are so on point that is what is making the emotional core land for me.
I just did a cursory glance at some of these other writers' IMDb credits. They're not great. Two of them wrote Journey to the Center of the Earth, which I enjoy. One of them wrote Pacific Rim Uprising. So like, they don't really have a lot of like good, like really good stuff. I think this might be their best stuff, probably because what you're saying, Sparkz, is that the actors are helping the material, and I do think actually Sean Levy helps a little bit. I think he helps. The directing that he's going with, probably even a hand in some of the story beats because of it, helps a lot.
I'm sure he's bringing out some of these performances from them, but I'm like the exact same dialogue scene of when Zoe Saldana's Laura is telling him to go. That exact same dialogue I feel like I've seen delivered in like sci-fi channel level productions, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, all right, but I don't believe the character the way I believe her when she's like screaming it at him and practically breaking down, crying, telling him to go. I'm like, I believe it right now. I
And Ryan
believe it
Reynolds.
so much. Yes, they're so, all of the actors, our whole main cast except for our villain, are so committed to their roles that it makes everything sing, regardless of like where the other flaws are.
Right. I think what you talked about Zoe Saldana's bit when she's yelling at him to go, and Ryan Reynolds when he's leaving her, his breakdown
Yes.
when he's in the car is very good too.
Yes.
There's a level of acting that it's not. I've seen it from Ryan Reynolds before, but we don't see it often. There's a level of acting that he's doing in this movie that I was happy that he kind of didn't shed it completely, but did kind of break out of his character that he plays a lot.
I agree because I was nervous going into it that he was basically going to be like Free Guy again, energy wise. But we get this real emotional core. I keep saying that, but like this real emotional through line for his character that is dramatic and devastating, and like he's a guy who's had a lot of life stuff happen to him, and excuse me, Zoe Saldana's Laura is the best thing.
Yeah.
So him like wanting to hold on to that so desperately, like again, he's really selling it. They're really selling it. The kid's very good. The kid is very good at being a young Ryan Reynolds.
Very good.
Very good. But everybody's like meeting the material, and more importantly, meeting the other actors where they need to be. As far as like all the ones we just mentioned that aren't our villain or Christos, who just feels like, you know, yeah, he's a bad guy. That's where it feels like the weak element of the movie.
Yeah, I'll totally agree with that. I want to talk about Zoe Saldana a bit though. So she came to the past 2018 and she was stranded, thought dead. And Ryan Reynolds comes back to save her. I kind of wish she was in the movie more, or at least longer from that moment. I don't mind when she shows up, but I kind of wish she saw the ending through.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like honestly, it's a role probably usually given to a lesser performance, and a lesser actor. But Zoe Saldana like uses all the time that she has to make it impactful. And that makes it memorable, and that makes you want more. And I agree. I don't think there actually is proper room in the story that they're telling for her. I'm glad we get like the button at the end. But I agree with you just because I liked her so much.
Yeah.
Ben, you brought up the bar scene.
Yes.
Which Ryan Reynolds, that's a really good scene. In lesser actors, it's a worse scene.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds' face is so sincere when he's talking to Jennifer Gardner, like he is talking to his mother. And he's kind of breaking down a bit. It's a really powerful moment that I just wanted to highlight again.
Yeah,
And
I really like it.
I love how she kind of gets at the end. She's like, this guy seems so familiar. Oh God, I was gonna go somewhere.
More than you. She says more than he says. He loves you more than you know, which is which is what young Adam said to her earlier, and it kind of cues her into the fact that like, oh, was this my son?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Even when we see Marc Ruffalo in his lecture hall, and he notices like, and he says, "Adam," it's like, damn, that was quick.
Well, it's because he already knew time travel existed. He already invented time travel. That's one of the things I really like about the story about this movie. Is that when we meet Ryan Reynolds, we're already in an altered timeline, and when we go to 2022, it's an altered 2022. The timeline has already been changed by the time we start the story, and so we're going back to prevent that change. And so initially there was time travel invented. There was a world where time travel was invented, and Marc Ruffalo had invented it, which is why seeing an older Adam to him, not that surprising. Surprising, sure, but like, I get why you're here because I invented time travel.
Yeah. Right. Also, I like another really good emotional beat. Like you have the emotional beat with him and his mom in the bar, but also with him and Marc Ruffalo, where he's like, "You're my boy." Like that whole scene, I was like, man, it gets you right there. Right. Where he's telling adult Ryan Reynolds, like, "You're my son and I love you." He's like, "No, Dad, I don't need." He's like, "No, you do." And even like we talked about this earlier, like the emotional parts of this film were, to me, they were more interesting than the B plot was more interesting and more and better than the A plot. Like when young and old Adam are sitting down. He's like, dude, I know why you're mad. He's like, no, he's mad because he was never there. He's like, no, you're mad at him because he died. And you decided to hate him because he died.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up. I think that the kid and Ryan Reynolds have very good chemistry. They're very, like Sparkz mentioned, they're very good at playing the same person. The kid is very easily matches Ryan Reynolds where he's playing the role, and that helps the moment, like with the one you were bringing up, what they're having at the picnic table, where they're saying, where the kid is reminding him all the good memories that he still has haven't been tainted by time, by his rage at losing his dad so young. That those memories haven't been tainted yet, and he's reminding him of what those memories were. It's a very sweet moment.
Yeah, I really like that. I agree with you. I think I like that it presents the concept of like, you know, your memories are altered by your perception as you get older, and like you can't retain perfect memory, and especially with something traumatic and with rage and other emotions that come in, like it warps it. And I thought that was a good reflection on that. I think that's one of the stronger written scenes of the film, and then of course the performances are very good. I
do like the quick side note, I do love when they're outside the college, and then like after they punch each other and he looks too young, I was like, why'd you grow up to be an asshole?
Yeah. I think that they do. I agree with you, Brandon. I do think it's a really interesting concept to already be in an altered timeline from the jump, that's what we're dealing with, that's what we're trying to work against for the plot. Like we never really get to the cemented timeline till the very end of the film.
And even that's a different timeline than the one that Maya came from initially.
But I also think that it does start our villain off on the wrong foot and like shortchange their development. That's why like I don't think that they're ever really able to quite land. I'm sure there are ways that problem could be fixed. I don't need to like ruminate on them too hard. I just she came in flat. It did not help that when we have to beat her younger version looks like Tron Legacy level CGI.
Looks not good.
De-aging. Like it's that blurry sheen that they used for Tron Legacy almost exactly. I was like, this is rough.
Yeah.
I definitely in like that and the third act, I could feel the movie pushing against its budget with CGI, and I kind of wish it wasn't.
Yeah. I do think, speaking of the budget, though, I do think a lot of the action sequences are very good and they're very well shot. And it's a cool concept of like you have like a quantum time that you have to exist in. If you die outside of that, it's messy. And that's how they visualize the deaths of these soldiers. I thought that was a really cool concept, and it helps that the action is also really well done, I thought.
Yeah, I agree.
Like when Zoe Saldana shows up in the fight scene in the backyard, I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah, and they have this kind of like, is what I really like is like these epic love stories and blockbusters that we don't really get anymore. Like this, we kind of felt like that like lust towards each other, that they have this unspoken love that you can feel with the chemistry that they have.
Right.
For such small screen time, they have incredible chemistry.
Yeah, they really sell it. I think it works very, very well. I love the needle drops. I think they're all well done and well chosen. I think that they sell the chemistry of that. I cannot stress enough that I think like Jennifer Garner and Zoe Saldana are doing so much with so little. As far as like what's put on the page, like they are not given a lot of time, and they're not given a lot of really like ambitious writing, but they are going for a performance, and they are meeting where that deep emotional thread of what the story wants to be about. When like the story's at its best because it's focused on what happened to Adam because of him growing up without his dad and how that affected his relationship with all the other people around him. And like the different avenues it takes to explore that are really good. The fact that it's represented by these powerful performances. I'm really glad we get at least one scene with Jennifer Garner and Marc Ruffalo together. I think she does some really great stuff in that scene. Like she has the great line of, you don't need to be perfect. He just needs you to be you.
Yeah.
And like that's okay. I think they really do a lot of great stuff there. If that weren't so well done and so well brought to life by these actors, I think this would be a much lesser film.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Jennifer Garner has a moment at the end when they're in the new timeline, and the kid hugs her. He has this moment of like he remembers the echo, and that he gives her a hug, and you can see how important that was to Jennifer Gardner. You can see that in her face. It's a really powerful moment.
Megan and I definitely thought that like the dad was going to be alive in the new timeline because we were going to find out that Serena had set up the car accident.
I thought so too.
So once she was erased, he was actually going to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's where we were going. I was kind of surprised that wasn't it.
I was expecting her, because like you can tell when she's like, when you see old Sorian and she's all, or old Maya, and she's all like saying like, I killed his wife twice, and I was like, when's the reveal that she set up the car crash? I was like, oh, so that actually was an accident. Okay.
I also do like that she killed herself.
Yes,
like nobody kills Maya. She kills herself.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo just knew it would happen.
Yeah.
It's like armor-piercing rounds.
Just
magnets.
Kids, stay behind me. Actually, if we stay behind you, it would probably just kill us anyway because those are armor-piercing.
All right,
rounds.
then spread out a little. Okay, good advice.
The banter between the three of them is very good. Mark Ruffalo can keep up with Ryan Reynolds in a way that I just didn't think he could.
Yeah.
When they get out of the elevator, so bring your kid to work day was a total success, huh? Even when he's like 8, it's like, who said that? You did, just before you got arrested. I get what?
Yeah. I like that young Adam is so concerned with like, oh, we have a wife, we get laid towards the beginning. But like the scenes that there's two things that I want to highlight. I really like the every bit where they're in the jet. I thought that was really cool. Like the idea that I need pure DNA to open the jet, and that's why young Adam is part of the action in the beginning, and then that's why he gets into the jet, and he's convinced because we're gonna go see Dad, we're gonna go do this in 2018, and he's like, yeah, hell yeah. The jet action sequence is really good, and then a lot of the stuff when they're mimicking each other's movements, like with the food or with the scar or I thought that was very well done, and there's easy ways that could slip up, and they pretty much nail it.
Telling you talking to zip it at the same time.
Yeah, or like closing the fridge the same way that the kid does.
Yes, all that very, very good, well thought out stuff. Really like the dad having read the room and knowing that he's not around for much longer, and so giving that like message to them and making that moment with them. And Ryan Reynolds playing off of it, very good.
The end where they're playing catch,
which would have felt hokey without the scene between the two Adams earlier.
Yeah,
but they made it work.
They really do, because it feels like, both of those Adams needed it in that moment. Yeah, they needed that moment with their father one last time, and they're even in the new timeline, they're just not going to get it.
Yeah, and seeing both the gloves on the ground. When
it's pretty hard.
It's like, it's because you hope that they're okay. I mean, yeah, we see younger Adam in 2022 saying bye to his mom, giving her the hug, and then we see when older Adam is at the college and he meets his Laura for the first time.
This is a very good scene when Zoe Saldana, it's the same meet cute that he describes to him. Yeah, really liked it.
Definitely like speaking from like my own personal stuff right now, like just the scene with the dad expressing his feelings for his son before he knows he's not going to be around anymore was like really like, yeah, all right, you got it, like dang, hitting those feelings. And it's another one of the reasons why like the bar scene hit really hard, was because like I was thinking of my own mom and like how she's doing right now, and definitely like they know what's up. They know what they're talking about. They know how to handle the material. Yeah.
I really like this. I don't know if I have much more to add, though.
I don't.
I really did, too. I really wish that there was some way to make, like, the villain at all more connected or interesting.
Sure.
Like, all the connection level feels so forced, to the point where, like, it's weird because it almost feels like she's a stranger to the family, but she isn't, and that's part of the point that she isn't.
There's pictures of her with the family,
right? But like it all feels so like telling me, not showing me, rather than her actually being close to them at all.
Right. They're actively showing you, but not in a way that is in the performances. Like they're showing you pictures, but you can't feel emotion from those pictures.
Right.
You only feel, but you never feel the emotion with the actors.
They're telling me she's been close to them. Like when she's first brought up, it's like Adam thinks of her as like his friend. Like she's nice and she's friendly, and like we don't really get any of that. Like that dynamic of relationship between them. And again, like they kind of almost walk up to it with the young one, but not really.
But the young one is still so cold.
They don't go far enough. Like I can't. They didn't commit enough to like the young one deciding to turn against her older self and like make a choice. But they didn't commit to her making the choice to be bad. They just left her in like this nebulous space of like I never knew what she wanted from moment to moment. The young one specifically. I'm like I almost wish she wasn't in the final act.
Yeah.
Like she just kind of doesn't add a lot because I can't tell where she stands with anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do want to highlight the final action sequence. I really like the taking out the hard drive bit, a comedy bit, and like I really like the design of that kind of particle accelerator that Marc Ruffalo has created. And the idea is like, well, okay, if we do this, it's going to destroy 100 miles an hour, 100 miles around, or nothing. It just stalls and just does a loop and forever. Well, let's hope it's that one.
Right.
I thought that was really cool, funny.
Yeah.
Should we rate it then? I don't know if.
Sure.
Ben, why don't you go first again?
I'll give it an 8. It's I still feel that the emotional stuff of the B plot essentially is what carries this movie and gives it such a high score for me. Whereas the main plot with the villain and Sorian is very middle of the road C material.
Yeah.
The action scenes I really enjoyed. The one-liners are great. Like we said, Zoe Saldana and Jennifer Garner bring it. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds, the kid, and Marc Ruffalo is amazing. The chemistry between all of them is really good. So yeah,
very well cast movie.
Very well cast movie. So yeah, I give it an 8. Solid 8.
Yeah, I think director and actors do a lot of favors for the material that's on the page. I think they take it to a new place and make what is the good nugget in the middle of this story really sing. So like all said, like I think it's a very good sequel to 13 Going on 30. I really enjoyed it, and I'll give it an 8. Yeah, an 8. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with an 8.5. It hit most every button. But Maya, I just don't think she's delivering a good performance. And I think if she met the material as where maybe Marc Ruffalo did, like I think we got on something.
I think even then, like the material for her needed to be better.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the thing is like there are dips in the writing for like a lot of the other characters, but they're able to like overcome it, and she's just never able to get over that hurdle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do think that there's something very special. I did not think it was going to be as emotionally enveloped in its personal story as it was.
Yeah, I really like Sean Levy's current output. I haven't liked all of his movies, but the 4 of them I've really liked so far. Yeah, bring on Deadpool 3. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Shall we go into our book club then?